go. We are live, or so YouTube says. If you're here, you're in the chat, say hello. This evening, I'm working on drilling, well, tapping a cheese plate for a fly press. If anybody is out there, go ahead and chat. Russell, hello, hello. You are first, at least first to chat anyhow. First to view and first to chat. Oh. Probably until people come in, so they're not looking at my belly button. To start with, should probably raise this up. I just figured I'd do a little hangout live, do a little Q&A while I continue to work on this cheese plate for the new fly press that I acquired from Blacksmith Supply. So I'm going to be working on that, and so this way I can continue my B-roll videos. Well, all the B-roll I got to film for the video series. Yeah, belly button lint is the best shot. So, also, if I tilt you up to where you really can't see how well I'm doing on this, let's say how terrible, not well, I'm doing at tapping these holes, that would be wonderful. It'll make the machinist amongst you not cringe as much. Saying, oh, you're doing it wrong. I guarantee you every one of these are tapped cross-threaded, like at an angle. So they are not square at all. I need to get myself a power tap at some point. Which would be heavenly. Hello, hello. Leland Hawk, hello. Greg Reed, hello. Good to have you. All right. Get that started. Oil it and continue along. Yeah, Bill, that's a great option. Put it in the drill press and turn it by hand. The unfortunate thing is the drill, the vise I have for the drill press doesn't hold this wide a material. It is just a 1/4 inch too wide for the drill press to hold. So I don't really have a way of securing it easily to the drill press in order to do that. I have heard that that's a good trick to keep everything nice and plumb and true. But unfortunately, that is not, my shop's janky. Too janky for that. I need to get a better drill press at some point. The one I have, it's a Harbor Freight model, but it has worked for a good many years. So, and I'm cheap, and new drill presses cost a fortune. So, probably going to deal with the jankiness for a little while. But you are right. Putting it in a drill press really helps out. I do that for pieces that I can actually lock in the vise. Which is real nice. Robert Lannis, hello, hello. Miles Anderson. Working on tapping a cheese plate right now. Gaming Ham, hello. Stephen Parsons, hello, hello. Bill Will, I didn't say it, but hello. Good to have you, sir. Robert Whitney, hello, hello. So what I'm working on, we rotate you guys down so you guys can see what I'm doing here. Russell and I, you trade me a drill press for a treadle hammer kit. Well, that is interesting. Depends on how nice that drill press is. And how far I have to go to get it. It's all in the hips, gentlemen. You're very welcome, Gaming Ham. I'm glad that that was helpful to you, at least on an emotional level, if not for anything else. How is she doing, by the way? I did not catch an update here recently on that. Made it right on through. Drew Wilson, hello, hello. Oh, you're in Michigan too. Okay. Well, send me a DM. Maybe we'll work something out. So let's see here. Robert Lannis, what am I making tonight? So what I am making tonight is I call it a cheese plate, is what it is. I mean, that's what I call it. But basically, it's just a plate of steel that has a bunch of drilled and tapped holes in it. I don't know the technical term for it, but it's what I've always called it in my shop. I couldn't tell you what the actual technical term is for these. But basically, I've acquired a new fly press from Blacksmith Supply that will be sponsoring the channel this year. So without turning this into a big advert, I've got a whole series of videos that will be coming out on fly presses. Well, I got a little fly press, a little number 2 fly press, and I'm going to use it predominantly for chasing top, like dies for dye work, molding, things like that. And so instead of using the little provided clamp down things that they provide with it, I wanted a much broader working area where I can clamp things down like fences to give me specific distance off of chasing tools, things like that. So that's what I'm working on tonight, is I'm making these where I can still use the little hold down finger tools on plate, or I can bolt through fences or adjustable fences and things like that to this plate. And it gives you way more mounting options than just the T-slots that are in the fly press and the 2 mounting holes that it has in the fly press. So that's essentially what I'm making this evening. I always seem to find that the holes work out a little bit better if you put that tap in the drill after you've done the deal of tapping it, and I feel like it gives a little more clearance fit with the threads, makes it a little easier to put things in and out. That is probably a negative thing. He probably suffers a little bit of rigidity and sturdiness that way, or clamping force. But it helps the bolts easier to get started. So that is what I'm working on this evening. So I use this little tap wrench, this little handheld tap wrench. This isn't quite enough to put it through this 1/2-inch plate. I don't know why. It requires so much force. I think maybe this tap is a bit dull as well. And like I said, if you don't get this started perfectly in the hole, you're getting lean to it when you get going. That affects your tapping as well. So I used the correct, this is a 1/2 by 13 tap, and it said to use a 27/64 drill bit. And I was told years ago by my grandfather that when doing stuff, to always use letter or number drill sets whenever you're using taps. That way you can provide a bit of a clearance fit when you're tapping stuff. So you go just a skosh bigger, and you're like, well, what's a skosh? Well, that might be maybe a few thousandths bigger on the drill diameter to make it easier for your taps to go through. So, but I don't have a lettered or number set that goes as big as 1/2 inch, or what I would need to drill a 1/2 inch hole. A skosh bigger, a 27/64 hole, that much bigger. So I just have to deal with what I got. And boy howdy, tell you what, drill bits are expensive these days. More oil on there. So thank you to the 18 of you that have liked, 19 of you that have liked the video so far. Appreciate that. and 47 of you watching. Watching a chubby dude tap holes. Such fascinating content. So I've already done most of it. Just got these last 3, and then I'll take you all over into the other side of the shop, and we'll get it installed, and I can show you kind of how it works a little bit once these get tapped. That'll give me a chance to get off my feet too as well. All right, so you guys are seeing that work. Change the camera angle. Now you can see my face for a bit. And I can answer questions. Sorry, shaky camera footage. It's a low budget stream this evening. Yeah, Jeff Killian. Lucky I have good grip strength. That's right. Billy. Bill's Smithy, greetings. Watching you work. Watching your work is like a... I'm waiting for you to finish that statement. Would my twisting wrench, would my twisting wrench work better than a crescent wrench? Probably for even pressure. The twisting wrench is quite cumbersome, though. It's a pretty heavy-duty F wrench, so I don't know how cumbersome it would be. It's over on the other side of the shop. I'm sure that's a valid way of doing it. Read that again. Gaming ham. Mom came out black and blue all over her head and face, Roy. And the first thing she wanted for dinner when she got home was a chicken curry, LOL. Well, I mean, at least she's home. I'm glad she's home for you there. I'm sorry that she's had to go through all that and come out looking in such a state. All right, it's done up nicely. I'm gonna run the drill up and down on it again. Again, don't know if that does anything, but it sure as heck feels like it does. 3 more to do. 3 more. And this process will be over with. Hope knives, yeah, that's a great help for that. I have used the drill press before on smaller stuff. This plate, so my my vise for the drill press has only got a 6-inch opening, and I've got a 6 3/8 inch plate, 6 1/4 inch plate. So that was the problem. So I can't clamp it over there at the drill press without taking the whole vise off and clamping it directly to the bed somehow, which is cumbersome for me to do. Awesome, Robert. Glad to hear that the bottle opener works out perfectly. Roger Caldwell, it's giving you an idea to go buy some cheese. Borland, I don't know how many tapped holes you can get before it goes dull. I usually snap them before they go dull. It gets a little dull and I get it stuck somewhere and snap them. Generally, that's been my experience. So not the best experience with taps in the world. Usually if you use a lot of cutting oil on them, I mean, the one I've got now, this half 13, I've had it for, I mean, I don't know how many holes I've done. I mean, this might be the largest amount of holes I've done in a long while with it. So I don't know. I may be up to 20, 30 holes if I'm honest with this one. I don't know what would be considered value. You know, this is, I think this tap cost me like $8, $9. I broke the original one that came in the kit. I did a lot of holes with that one. That was probably like 60, 70 holes before it snapped. And that is a lot of tapping, by the way. If you're hand tapping stuff, I feel like that's a lot of holes. Maybe that's not a lot of holes. It's definitely not a lot of holes for, you know, a piece of equipment that's meant to, you know, tap stuff. I read that comment when I get a second. Get this hole tapped real quick. 27/64 drill will get 75%. I'll have to read that. See the bad thing about doing YouTube on a phone is the comments instantly go away after they've been made. So unless other people are commenting rapidly, which then makes them go away too, it's very difficult. So pumpkin patch forge and ironworks, 27/64 drill will get about 75% thread. Use a 11.3 mil and you get 50% easier to turn. Okay, 11.3 millimeter. Yeah, I need to up my drill bit game where I get more of those sizes. I don't do a lot of tapping, a lot of threading and stuff. It's on occasion, so I haven't really done a lot what I should be doing. Okay, between 12,500 and 15,000 is when I change tap. That is a lot of holes. I doubt you're doing that by hand, though. Hand tapping. 12 to 15,000 holes. You wouldn't have time for anything else in life. Oh, you must be working a machine that taps. It's either that or you are one beast of a guy doing tapping work. All I hope is that the tap lasts till the end of the job. Hey there, Troy. Hey, Joe McGill, what, Gray? McGillagray? McGillivray. Oh, by the way, Mr. Crawford, hello. Davenport, 5 spindle. Yep, figured it was a machine of some sort. So taps ought to last a really long time. Again, if you're not experienced with the tap either, or hand tapping stuff, you've never done it, you're probably going to break a lot more than normal, or strip them, you know, get them cross-threaded in a hole. You can have a lot of other issues there. But I definitely agree with Pumpkin Patch of going just a touch over what it needs to be. So this way you get an easier thread. You know, it's easier to cut the threads. Hey, you are finally here. Welcome. This is just a boring little live, me just tapping holes and a cheese plate this evening. Hey, awesome, Bill. Glad you're almost done with that process. It'll be nice to get it up and running. Gaming Ham, take care. Send your mom our love and the best. I'll continue to keep you in my prayers. All right. We are almost there, ladies and gents. We've got two holes left. Coreyshire. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. Yes. Good to see you this evening. Put that down in there. You know what's funny is I'm probably doing all this work for nothing because like 90% of these holes I'll probably never use. But the good thing is I'm a real big fan of having a tool. If you're going to have a tool, get it all completely fleshed out, like as nice as you can, right? Get everything set up as nice as you can, even if it's so. Get it to where it's versatile. That's what I'm trying to say. Get it as versatile as you can before you mount things permanently, right? Think things through. Say, well, you know what? I don't know if I'll ever use that feature, but it's nice to have it just in case. Because there's been a lot of times where I've just been, flipping eyeball deep in a project, and that one strange thing I did, 5 years ago, I was like, oh, thank God I did that, because I could just get the job done without having to build something else in order to get the job done. So that's highly effective. So that's something to think about. It's like this fly press. I know what I'm going to be using this fly press for. I'm going to be using this fly press for very specifically chasing work. So I know what type of chasing I want to do with it. And so most of these holes will be, effective for me. Most of them, there's other ones that won't, obviously, on here. But while I've got it off of the fly press, while it's not bolted down, while I can go ahead and work on the grid, I'm going to just go ahead and work on making a grid, just so this way I don't have to, fidget with it in the future. It'll already be locked out to the table, and I can be just pleased as punch. And I don't have to worry about taking it back off, stopping mid-stroke of a project I'm working on to adapt it, so to speak. Now, I might still have to take it back off and adapt it with something else. Maybe I'll decide, all these large holes are great, but maybe I want to come back in between all these and put in some 1/4-20 tapped holes, because, well, why not, right? Maybe I got some sort of special project I need to bolt up to it specifically, right? Some bit of tooling that I need to, put on there, but, gosh, come on. Grip strength. So maybe I got a special bit of tooling that I want to put on there, and then I'll have to take it back off and drill the 1/4-inch holes. But at least it's not a complete blank slate, and I've already chose a particular direction, so that should work out nicely, I think. At least that's the plan, anyhow. All right. Calm down, Timothy Trizzle. I'll point it back down at my belly button soon. You lucky, lucky person. Yeah, I got a goodie moot. Borland, yes, I do. I plan on abusing some expensive ones, so again, put money where the mouth is there. Stephen Padilla. I came to the channel to learn how to make my own tools for rivets. I ordered a set through Etsy because I like to support small businesses, but the maker ended up in the hospital. Oh man, that's sad to hear. So you wanted to make your own tools for rivets. Yeah, I got a whole playlist series, what I call a riveting playlist series. You can take that. You can take a look at the full playlist series I've got on making rivets, rivet bucking tools, rivet headers. Got a whole entire riveting thing, even making rivets, I think. Hello, Lauren Wembley. Well, I'm glad you love us. We love you too. Appreciate it. Jessica and I receive a lot of love from you guys and gals out there in the community, and we appreciate it. We really do. Like, I know that's the thing. You know, like all YouTubers say that. You know, some are sincere, some aren't. You know, when you're online, you never do know what to believe these days. But the only thing I can say is I'm honest and sincere with that. We couldn't do this without everybody that watched this channel, so wouldn't be anybody to talk to. So thank you all so much for everything. Your support, your kind compliments and comments means the world to me. To me personally. I can't speak to Jess because, well, Jess is her own person. But I know it means a lot to her too. But to me, it means everything to me. So I really appreciate that. Gives me the drive to carry on in this crazy world we're living in. So, there's a question that there's a comment that just came up. I want to answer that here in a second. We're almost down to our last hole. I want to take a moment and let me pause this second. See here. Bird Street Homestead. About to open my own shop. It's basically a gift shop for tours with a shop set up on the side to do live demonstrations. Your videos were a huge help. That is awesome to hear. That is awesome to hear. So Jessica and I are toying around with the idea. Some of you early subscribers of the channel remember our 3-minute at 3 series. We did an entire coin the phrase business of blacksmithing series here on YouTube about 4 or 5 years ago. We really did a lot of videos on how to build a business, things like that, advice, helpful tips and stuff. We're kind of kicking around the idea of doing another, business of blacksmithing series here on YouTube, and kind of doing it as an update, right? Because a lot of things in the world has changed. Not so much your base business skills have changed, but a lot of the world and the dynamics have changed in the world of blacksmithing and in business since we've done that playlist series. Most of it's all still applicable. It's just we've kind of got some updated information that might be helpful to folks. And so we've been kicking around the idea on that about sitting down and doing another, a business series, specifically doing a deep dive, even potentially going as far if there's enough interest in it, bringing in, some experts like insurance specialists for, people that, insurance companies that take care of stuff like this, even tax professionals talk about, taxes, things like that around a smithing business, smithing specific businesses. So we're kind of toying around with that idea. Awesome. I'm so glad you learned a lot from that. So we're kind of toying around with that idea. I don't know. What do you all think? Be interesting to hear everybody's opinions of that, if that's something you all would be interested in. I feel like I have a lot to add. I have a lot to add, whether it's good or whether it's valuable or not. You'll have to be the judge of that. But I feel like I have a lot to add and say to the smithing community at large. And, a lot of ranting to do around smithing businesses in general. I see a lot of pitfalls that people make, and it just kind of makes me want to scream at some folks. I get some emails that it's just like, oh, come on, like, you're overcomplicating some things and other stuff just not doing and not getting with the program, and it's like, you wonder why the business isn't working, and then it's like, I wish I could help you, but and help all the emails that come in on stuff like that. But it's just easier right now at this point for me to make another video series. So awesome. Thank you, Drew Wilson, for that. Larry Jones, you could probably build your own fly press. It would be quite costly. You would have to have the screw machined. I don't think there's any way around that in the screw box. Then you could weld it onto your own frame for sure, but the screw itself and the screw box would have to be built by somebody else. Robert, yes, please. Bruce Hines. Don't know what he's all about. Let's see. Looking forward to a tax rant. Yeah. Let's see here. I remember you doing some stuff with Tim from Big Dog Forge. He even came to Quad State a couple years ago, and I met him at your camp, but haven't seen anything from him. So Bruce Hines, as far as I know, the last update I know from Tim, Big Dog Forge, he is okay. He's in good health from again, the last correspondence I've had with him. He's just extremely busy. You know, he's trying to work that plan to get into retirement mode, right? So his company he works for is a very, basically they've made him deals he can't refuse. And so the company he works for, he's in hot demand for what he does. And, you know, he's trying to set himself up in a position where he can get into retirement from what I know. So. Yeah, I know everything there is to know about that there smithing business. You might go away with the impression, well, he means well. That might be the only thing that can be said about it. Well, he means well. Little feller. Bless his heart. Look at him try. Look at him try new things. That started. Stephen Padilla, it's time for me to get ready for bed. Hey, you have a blessed evening as well. Stephen, thank you for coming out and visiting. For a few minutes anyhow. Hey, pumpkin patch, it probably would be. You could sell them if you could sell them in a kit format. Like a weld together yourself kind of kit format, where the screw boxes and ram is already taken care of. All they have to do is, you know, basically attach it to a ram that they can do. That would be legit. You know, the problem is with fly presses, right? So they range wildly in prices here in America. So some of them are wore out. Some of them are really wore out and need to have a lot of their stuff, their components refreshened up and remachined anyhow. And so that's why they got a super cheap price tag on the internet for. And then the new ones that you get, they're imports. As far as I know, there's only 2 different places that are importing them right now. There's a guy who's importing them from Europe, and that can get quite pricey. He's on Instagram, and you know, I don't have any dealings with him at all. I know Thomas, when he was looking at buying a fly press, he was talking that way. And then I got to talking to John over at Blacksmith Supply. And I was like, well, I want to get me a little small fly press for chasing work, because the big fly press is too much on the chasing tools, the small tools that I want to put in, and puts out too much pressure. So I got to talking to John, and I found his prices to be, again, I'm being sponsored by him this year, so take it with a grain of salt, my words here. I found, from what I could see, as far as new fly presses go, that's probably going to be your best route if you're going to buy a brand spanking new fly press. But there's still a large investment, especially if you're going to go for a forging press. Something that's strong enough and big enough for a forging press, it's going to be a substantial investment brand new. You know, some of the, you know, number 3s, 4s, 5s even, those aren't too bad. They're about $2,000. You know, brand spanking new. As where sometimes you can pick up a number 6 used, you know, a number 6 fly press, like a Sweeney and Bloxage or something like that fly press. You can pick up one of those used for, you know, sometimes you can get lucky. You can find them for, you know, 1,800, you know, maybe a couple grand. So, hey, take care, Bill Will. Thank you for being here, brother. God bless you. So yeah, so there's options out there, which is good. I think is a good thing. And I definitely wouldn't disparage somebody making a kit for them, a well-together kit. That would be cool. Because that would work out for a lot of people as long as the price point made sense for folks. Hey, Larry Jones, thanks for coming here. Good night. Again, I'm not trying to turn this into a big advert tonight. This is just what I'm working on. Yeah. Have a little chitty chat while I work on something that's overly dull and boring. There we go. Now, we'll say, you guys get us a little sneak preview here. There you go. We got the cheese plate done there. I will say, however, I will say this specifically. I do, however, have noticed that the quality on, and I have to, so I'm gonna have to talk about this in an actual rant video at some point, a detailed video on buying foreign tooling, because there's a lot of foreign tooling out there now, and some of it good, some of it's bad. Some of it's crude, some of it's better than others, but most of it is not to the same quality that you would find as an American-made tool. And the reason why is because we've been at machining a heck of a long time. India and China, places like that, they're still going through industrial revolutions right now that we have already been through here in America. So, you know, like India specifically. So a lot of their work, like a lot of their castings are thicker, you know, because the grain's not as good. You know, their grain may not be as great, or their casting, you know, their quality control efforts aren't where they need to be yet, right? And because once they get where they need to be, things go up in price significantly. So, right? And that has nothing to do with the worker or the laborer over there. They get paid per unit to chuck out a unit, right? They don't get paid to make things the best that they can possibly get made. They're not a machinist making $75 an hour, right? Because they've worked for 35 years. They're getting paid, you know, a bowl of rice, you know, or I mean, they're getting paid. They might get paid $75 a week to do what they do. So, you know, we shouldn't take it out on the guys that are making their living out there overseas. We should always try to hold any company manufacturer to the highest possible standards that they can achieve, but we shouldn't take it out on the worker or the workman. You know, they're just doing what they can do. Stephen Parsons. Hey, Roy, have you ever used a Harbor Freight hammer and turned it into a makeshift swedge block? I'm asking for a friend. I've never made it into a swedge block, but I have used a Harbor Freight hammer. Yes, that was my early hammer. I used one for about 4 years. Okay, cool. Troy? And the Harbor Freight hammers, they're not from India. Those are from Russia. They're Russian hammers. They come from railroad rail. I've got a video saved in one of my playlists of basically them doing that, re-rolling rail track, turning them, forging stuff, like they're forging like the eyes and everything right into them. So they're still not the greatest quality. Dog bone knives. Hey, great question. Speaking of China, how is the grinder holding out? So, I will have an update video on that coming soon. It might be a deal killer for some. I have had to pull some maintenance on this thing already, which, you know, I mean, again, that's, I guess, in my opinion, it's to be expected with a cheap machine. But there's a bearing in one of the wheels that sounds like it's kind of crunchy. So it's a standard it looks to be a standard off the shelf bearing that you can get. So there's a bearing in there that's a little crunchy. I don't know if it came from the factory that way, or if it got damaged in transit, or what. But it's you know, it makes a noise, so it's not as quiet as it could be because of that bearing. The one bearing that's in one of the idler wheels on the top of the platen there. And then the other day, Thomas was using this machine, and the top wheel bolt, we'll roll you down over here. This top wheel here on the flat platen ended up breaking. The bolt on the that holds the wheel to the, whatever you want to call it, that side piece that everything's mounted to, or the flat platen is mounted to, it actually broke. The bolt did. So I went ahead and replaced both bolts with some good heavy-duty machine bolts that I know are up to snuff for the task. And so I did have to replace those. It was just a common hardware store item, but it did cost me like $3 a bolt to have that replaced. So I replaced both top and bottom. And then there's one thing I definitely don't like, and I don't know if this, like, I feel like this is excessive wear for the time that I've had it, because we don't really do that much grinding. I mean, we clean up some stuff, but not super crazy. There's like a ceramic kind of a coating that they put on the platen, and that has wore a holler in it. So there's a waller bit inside of that ceramic back platen coating, whatever that may be. So for me, it's not a big deal for myself, because as I've said, I'm not a knife grinder, so keeping things true and plumb and perfect isn't necessarily a priority for me. It's okay if it comes out like that, but I'm also okay with just kind of fudging it in. It's okay. But if you're a knife maker and it wears like that, that would be a huge issue. So I do plan on doing an update video on it. I'm just kind of waiting to see what else falls off of it, if there's anything else that falls off of it, before I give it another update video in general. That's like any of my videos that I'm doing for the channel. That's what I like to do. I like putting stuff fully through its paces. I do the initial unboxing, the opening review, first thoughts videos. Then about 6 months later, I do an update video of what I think about it then. You know, and then a year later, I do a video, an update video. Okay, how has this fared? So, you know, some people, they just jump right in and buy it right off the shelf as soon as I make the video, and that's okay. But you have to keep in mind it takes time for a reviewer to fully give out their full thoughts on a product they were just sent like last week. So I'm hoping to do some better update videos in the future. So. Heinrich Schultz, can you please explain the process of cold hammer forging in layman's terms? So the technique of cold forging or forging, I'm not sure what you're asking. I guess you'll have to clarify what process you're talking about. If you're talking about cold work, just working a piece of material cold, versus heating it up in a hot forge, forging it, and then letting it cool down. The process that you would use to do that, and people do it all the time to make vessels and copper work and things like that, and I've certainly done it for years for copper vessel work, is you'll heat a piece up and you will anneal it, or you will soften the material by letting it cool slowly over a long period of time, say a couple hours or whatever, and then that material, the grain structure is more relaxed. It's kind of enlarged. The grain structure is a little bit enlarged after you do an annealing heat. And it's just easier for those grains to slip past each other, and it makes it more pliable or more ductile the material. And then you come in and then you can start doing your forming, right? And you can put it on stakes, you can cold work it with a hammer, and as you hammer on it, the piece starts to work harden. So it starts to harden up those individual grains in the material. They start getting more and more brittle as they go, and they also kind of start lining up, which is a bad thing. So what you do then is the sound will change. So the sound will go from a dull thwack when you're hitting it, and it'll go all the way up to a high ting when you hit it. And that's how you know that the piece is hardened up significantly. When I say hardened, I mean stress. It's more stressed out. It's not really hard. So if you're working with low carbon material that's non-hardenable, you're not hardening anything per se, but you're stressing it out. It's getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and there's that pitch change. That grain structure is tightening up as you work on it. So if you take that then and you re-anneal it, reheat it, let it cool slowly, then you can come back out and you can do more work to it. And that is what people call cold forging material. Now, I don't know if there's some other process you're referring to. Yeah, Lauren, yeah. So cold forging hardens the material, but makes it harder and more brittle. Yeah, so the terminology of hardening, people use the terminology hardening specifically in the heat treating process, but that's not what we're doing when we're working the material. We're not actually adding we're not capturing characteristics of hardness. We are stressing the material essentially. I'm not a material scientist, so. It's used to make rifle barrels. It's supposed to produce higher quality rifling, which makes the barrel more accurate. Okay, so what you are speaking of there is, or what I believe you're speaking of there, I should just say that. It's kind of like the difference between hot rolled and cold rolled steel. So hot rolled steel, there's a lot of irregularities in hot rolled steel, and where with cold rolled steel, it is a lot tighter on tolerances and dimensions. So when they're cold forging something or putting a barrel over a mandrel and they're extruding it out, they're extruding that barrel over a mandrel, or they're forging it cold, right, over a mandrel. They are refining that grain. They're tightening up that grain like I talked about, but they're also improving the surface finish right out the gate with that. So like when you have like a cold rolled bar of steel, you can buy like stuff that is cold rolled. You can buy it cold rolled, pickled, and oiled. You can buy it cold rolled, ground stock. So it's actually ground to a very specific diameter of material, but it's cold, so it's rolled out cold in the final heat. So it started off hot in a big billet and went through a bunch of dies to get rolled down to whatever size the bar stock is. Maybe it's big bar stock or whatever, and then it's pushed through the dies at a much colder temperature. It's not a black heat, but it's a much colder temperature, like red. Brilliantly lays out material science. I don't know. I don't know if I brilliantly laid that out there, but that's what I know. So you are refining the surface of that and bringing things into tighter tolerances, because you could do that cold or you can't do that hot. Reason for being is the physics of the material, right? When things heat up, what do? They expand. So then you're rolling it out to dimension hot, and then what happens? It shrinks. It cools. So you can't take it to a true 1 inch or a true 7/8 square or a true whatever. You can't do that hot because it's always going to shrink a little. There's always scale loss, right? There's always that loss of the surface or the mill scale on it. And so that matters for like machinists. They want cold rolled stock, not hot rolled, depending on what they're doing. Sometimes they can get by with hot rolled stuff. So the cold barrel forging stuff, I've seen one video on that, and that's what they're doing. And when they say cold, it's not cold as in like it's, you know, like you can just touch it with your hands cold. It's still hot. It's just not, it's not at a scaling heat. It's not at a temperature in which the material underchanges a lot of shrinking or has a lot of shrinkage. So because when they pop that thing through a die, a roller that, you know, weighs 400 tons, I guarantee you that barrel or bar or cold rolled steel, it heats up. It does heat up, but it's being forced very acutely to very specific dimensions. And so that's why the barrels would probably come out better. You're very welcome. I hope I explained it in a way that was intelligible. That's what I understand of the process. I've had comments in the past. So I've had comments in the past where, you know, folks have, you know, they'll ask me questions like that. And, you know, I mean, I can surmise a lot of stuff from what I know and from what I've experienced. But, you know, they'll ask me a question like that and they'll come out with like, well, I actually watched somebody else who's a material engineer that said, you know, material science. I'm like, well, go with that guy's answer. Like, why are you asking me? You know, it's like you should not be asking a simple blacksmith YouTuber guy. You know, like if you had a material scientist guy tell you the answer, go with that answer. You know, don't go ask some bozo on the internet for better advice. So, all right, I'm gonna show this off. So there's the cheese plate we made. So these two holes are for mounting it to the fly press, and we're gonna go in the other. I'm gonna actually carry you all into the other room, and hopefully everything will work out all right. And these are for different mounting options. So that's what we're working on tonight. Lots of drilling, lots of tapping. Got all the holes tapped nicely, I think. It still requires a little bit of cleanup. I'm not going to do that tonight. I don't want to make a ton of noise. My neighbors, they don't ever hear me, but I'm one of those guys. I am always conscientious of that. There's some burrs on the bottom side here I want to clean off at some point. We'll take you over there in the other room. So there's another question here. Let me look. Joe, Roy, when is the update for the treadle hammer? So the update for the treadle hammer is when I can get back to work on it. I actually have I'll show it off to you, but I'm not going to show off the whole thing. So this is a piece of the upgrade. So that's a part of the upgrade that's coming. This isn't the final version. This is meant to have an interchangeable die system, and there's going to be a lot going on with that, with a whole new spring package and all sorts of stuff like that. That is that's like 85% there. I've had a lot of I have had a lot of health setbacks, like with my feet and with my teeth. God's been putting me through the ringer. I shouldn't blame it on God. It's just life has been putting me through the ringer since the first of the year with some of that stuff. So I have not been able to get as far. I've had a whole bunch of other commitments, and then it just seems like when I get time in the shop, man, I've got something killing me, whether it's my feet or my teeth. So that's what's been happening. You know. But I don't mean to deflect. I do want to get out the update for that. So I'm hoping sometime late June, maybe early July. That's what I'm hoping for right now, if nothing else happens. Yeah, there is only so much time in a day. Yeah, like, I mean, I don't even know what time it is right now, but like I'm out here working on shop stuff because I just didn't have enough of my own time for today to even work on it to get it done. So, you know, putting in the late hours, my foot's killing me. My teeth are getting straightened out, which is good, but yeah. Roger Caldwell, yeah, those are 1/2-inch holes. They're 1/2-inch, 13, half by half 13s is what they are. So, Drew Olson, Roy, one of these days you need to stop with the YouTuber guy. You are a teacher, just in a different setting. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, one day I do need to stop with that. The world is disparaging enough of, you know, online educators. I don't need to disparage myself, right? Self-deprecate about being an online educator. That is something new. That is something new. It's 10:22 Eastern time. Thank you, Mr. Crawford. So that is something that I kind of got to thinking to myself. I had a couple clients that wanted to take and work for me. I have a very long waiting list for ironwork, like blacksmith work, for the shop. And I don't say that to brag. I almost say it in a way like it's almost exasperating. It's like, okay, it's such a deep list. I don't think I'll ever get to any of these people. So to just be honest, my time commitments now are way different. Like I spend a lot of time educating and a lot of time teaching, and you know, when I'm in the shop for when I want to just forge, I just want to forge the stuff I want to forge. I don't want to have to be making something for a client as well. So there are still some production items we forge for the shop, you know, for the website, but those are all mostly Thomas's bag now. I've trained him up on stuff. He's gotten a lot of skills, and you know, I'm still training him in that department and having him do that. But it's kind of like it's time for me to start, you know, it's time for me to walk into my role as not only a professional YouTube smith and an online educator, but also an educator in person, right? Like that, it's time for me to step into that and embrace that, because what I find is I don't have time for everything, right? Like I don't have time to be a good dad, be a full-time smith, be a full-time educator, be a full-time YouTuber, be a, you know, just be the full-time everything. There's just one of me. And with all the health setbacks and stuff I've had, it's just kind of like, okay, well, you know, this might be the thing in the future, right? You know, I get older, you know, generally things stop working the older you get. So I have to, you know, just be honest and be like, okay, you know, I'm a professional YouTuber at this point. I still do blacksmithing. I'll put my work against any other smiths out there. I do, and I have done dang fine ironwork for, you know, years and years. I'm internationally known and recognized as a very high quality smith in my own right. And so, you know, like I kind of have to let go of the pride, so I can just say, you know, doing the occasional job that's going to bring in, you know, a job that's $2,500 now will probably, with the shop expenditures and everything else the way they are, I quote a job for $2,500. I spend so much time on it. I make like $9 an hour, you know, working on it, because the work that I'm doing is at such a degree of, you know, I don't want to say mastery, but it's at such a level. Like it's not just simple stuff anymore. It's not just making a meat skewer or just forging a door latch or a little hook. No, it's a Baroque door latch. You know, it's something that's got 70 hours in it, you know, or 100 hours into something. So it's very hard to sell that kind of work for, you know, the money that would require to run this shop. And so, you know, so I'm transitioning out of that and going a different route with it. I'm still going to be doing I want to work on masterful pieces. That's what I really want to devote the next 30 years to, is working on, you know, masterpieces. That's what I want to do. And so that's the kind of forging I want to do. That's the type of forging I want to take and share on the channel. I also want to do more business help stuff. I want to do more education, like, you know, tiered instruction, right? Everything from you know, again, more advanced level techniques, intermediate and beginner level technique type things. I want to spend my time in my next 30 years doing that, because I think I have the most impact that way versus saying I made a pretty thing. You know, I mean, I feel like it's more impactful that way, and I want to do things that, you know, is more impactful. Wish you could do that too, Lauren. Anthony Ryan, for your teeth, research plantain. It helps me. I'm gonna look that up. Plantain. Hey, Gibran Gaming. Good night. God bless you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. Okay, Joe's wife here. Now, how is Jessica doing? Oh, Jessica's doing good. She's doing great. She's trying to keep up with me, trying to support me in all things, difficulties and everything else like that. She does. She's a fantastic woman. I can't say enough about my wife. She's amazing. I don't know how I lucked out with that one, buddy, but man, I snookered her good. I totally like it, woo! Let's hopefully she don't wake up someday. see what type of bum she married, let's hope that doesn't ever happen. Oh, because that would be bad for Roy. Okay, we're gonna walk, so we may get choppy. We'll set you all in here. A bit off blacksmithing. Hello, hello. What up, what up? Oh, some things have changed in the shop. Well, thank you. I'm glad you think it's right together. Things have changed in the shop a bit. I removed out that center wall section. I reframed it out of the way, so this way it's a nice open shot all the way out to the forge there. As you can see, I've got the mower in the way. So, yep, God brought us together. And like I said, I don't deserve her, so I'm happy. All right, so I'll come in here and I'll get you around that, and then I'll answer questions. Let me bring in this plate and all that other good stuff. Set you. Oh, sorry guys. Getting a little impromptu shop tour out of Nowheresville. Sorry, jiggly. Yeah, the snow's melted, but it's still rainy as all get out. Oh, there's some good questions. I'll be right back after I grab the plate, and I plan on answering the question. Give me a second. Oh, all right. Bad angle. Now this is truly live streaming, folks. Truly live streaming. Bring it down here. Close and personal like. Get this away. Now you guys can see. And I'll answer questions. All right. That cleaned up there. So here's the little fly press, it's number 2. I've set it up so I can sit. Castle Forge, yes, I have seen Let's Go. I have not done a lot of animal figurines. I think that would be fun to play around with those. All right, so let me back up. Let me. Watching Roy's empty shop is better than lame stream TV. I'm glad you like it. You'll never get tired of those anvils on the fly press, Julius. And yeah, those things are awesome. And dog bone knives, yeah, the snow is melted, but we've changed it for really cold New England rain or some garbage. They can have it back. All right, Heinrich Schultz. As a master smith, charge what your work is worth. The people who request that kind of work can afford to pay you a fair price for the quality. Yeah, so very true words. And again, for me, when I get out in the shop, I just want to make the things I want to make now. I don't really want to be beholden to. I don't want to be beholden to a customer. So when it comes to that, I've done that for a great many years now, and so I don't feel like it anymore. At least not right now. Maybe I'll feel like it in the future. Pick it back up. I've done production ironwork. I've done custom ironwork for customers where every job is different. Literally every job is different that comes through the door. And I've done that to pay my bills largely for the last decade of my life. So now I'm just kind of like, I'm ready to kind of do, I'm ready to do something different. Start into the, the teaching element, just embrace what I'm doing on YouTube and, you know, just go with it. Move this over like that. Boom. Bob Fab Welding, thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Yeah, stress. Yeah, don't undersell yourself. I appreciate that. Frank Strott, I got this like 2 months ago. Take care, Leland Hawk. Sorry you can't stay, brother. Glad you can hang out for a little bit. So, woohoo! Got Island Mill Forge member for 31 months. Howdy! Sitting on the porch with some fam. Awesome. Hello, fam. Yamez's fam. Matt Wyatt. Roy, how much would you sell a trivet for? Depends on the type of trivet. Oh. I sell trivet kits where other smiths can make their own trivets, but if you're making them for a client, you know, it really depends on how fancy they are. Most trivets are going to be in that, you know, $50 to $100 range. So, all right. So this is what it's supposed to look like on here. This is a number 2 fly press. Again, not trying to turn into an advert. I got that from Blacksmith Supply. John. John's a really good guy. Nice man, easy to deal with, easy to talk to. Really great guy. I appreciate him. And that's not just my experience. That's people who've bought things from him says that about him too. So yeah, so this is a nice little fly press. I'll have a full review video on this. I'm also going to do a full review video. Thomas bought his fly press the same time I got this one. This is a number 2. He bought a number 5. I plan on doing a complete kind of breakdown of everything that you get with it. Things I like, things I dislike. There are things on this I dislike, but again, that'll go into my rant about quality. You know, quality of you know, burgeoning industries in foreign countries. So, Heinrich Schultz, thanks for being here. God bless you. Have a good day at work tomorrow, brother. Very welcome, Matt. Yeah, Frank, it has been that way. This was from Central Virginia. I picked this up from John over from John at Blacksmith Supply over in Central Virginia when I did my blacksmith when I did my conference over there, and I have not gotten to get to it because it needed to be unboxed. I'm filming all the B-roll and stuff, and that's kind of why I'm getting this thing all set up so I can do more stuff with it. So yeah, you haven't missed much. There hasn't even been a video on this yet. So my brother and his wife are down from Chicago, says Yamez. Stephen Parsons, 1 month. The Bellows Boy. Haha, Yamez, I've been a member for 1 month. Now what? That's all it takes. All it takes is for Yamez to miss a month. That's it. And then you'll beat him. You'll beat him. All right, so made this plate. Got my holes all drilled out here. Had to do some careful measurements. I find it important to put these type of bolts in. These are like these panhead, they're like a flat head bolt that come down flush. So I decided to use one of those versus the bolts that came with it for the hold down fingers. And I'll get to why that is in my actual review video, but now I can get things spaced out a lot further, and they'll work out good. And that, it just so happens these were 1/2 by 13s, so that's what I made my holes to, are 1/2 by 13s. Just, you know, it works. I can use the hardware that was supplied, and all I had to do was pick up 2 new bolts to secure it to the fly press. Now I may end up, later on, putting some T-nuts down in here, in the actual slots that they have in the fly press to give additional support in this dimension as well. So this way it doesn't have a tendency to go left or right, and it's not just supported by 2 bolts, it'll be bolted to the bed with 4 bolts instead. But we'll see how that goes in the future whether I actually need to do that or not. So yeah, so these will go right down in here. I did have to chase out the threads on these. They had a bunch of goop in them from the factory, like some sort of toxic grease that's just, it's a garbage grease. I'm not a fan. I had to spray this thing down quite heavily with WD-40. And then I chased all these with, again, this is all little things because I'm a sensitive man and I like things done a certain way. In my shop, I know what good tools are and how they should function, and so therefore I make it to fit my need. And that's the way you should do with any of your tools, whether they're brand new or not. Fit them to your own needs. Side Hill Forging, hello, hello. Chris Schaefer, hello, brother. Good to see you in the chat. Come on. Ugh. It's a little tight. Get rid of that back bolt. Just getting it mounted here is a trick in of itself. You get a ratcheting one, you know, instead of a manual. They'll put these on. The funny thing is though, like once it's bolted, I'm probably never going to take this plate off. It's going to stay. Oh. Yeah, that's right, Dog Bones Knives. Not all tools are blue. I was so happy this thing was gray. Oh. I don't know what possesses companies to create tooling that is blue. It is not that great of a color for tools. It literally shows every single ounce of dirt that's in the shop, in a blacksmith shop. Any greasy handprint is just like it's highlighted. They might as well painted it white. Blue is a terrible color for tooling, especially if it's going to encounter grease. So, you know, it's like they had a bargain on blue paint, and that's what they went with. Like, oh, we could buy it by the 4,000 gallons. Let's do it. I mean, and it doesn't have to be sky blue. What about a dark blue? You know, like a navy blue or something, you know? Why does it have to be a sky blue? It's ridiculous. And, you know, some people are okay with it, but most people would rather it just be black or gray. Again, it looks more professional if it is. If it was black or gray, you can respect it more. All right, there we go. Bam, that's not going nowhere, son. So good, so good. All right, grab my tooling. So this is a bit of extra tooling. This is not from Blacksmith Supply. This was an additional bit of tooling that I got from another subscriber that sent it to me. So yeah, so that was nice of them. But that's a tool holder for a much smaller stock. It makes 1 inch down to half. So I could put 1/2 inch tools in here versus 1 inch tools. I also changed out this. This used to be a bolt, like a regular, you know, hex head bolt. I changed it for an Allen key because everything else that I have works with Allen keys. So I went ahead and did an Allen key instead. Yeah, Smurf blue. Oh, you believe it's called safety blue? Well, they're not safe. I'd rather be canary yellow. You know? Like, let it be yellow. If that's what we're gonna do. So now I can place these fingers, these like hold downs. See, we got these like hold downs that came with it. Now I can place these hold downs anywhere I want to hold my tooling. So I can hold them. I can hold stuff up close in this orientation. Before, the only option was where these bolts were. I could only place something here, which was not conducive to the way that I planned on working with this tool. So now with this cheese plate, the simple addition of this cheese plate, now I can take and rotate that to any position I want. I can put these in any direction and any width apart to hold plating down or hold die stock down. See? So now these can adjust in different places, which I'm super stoked about. And if it did my job right, which doesn't look like it did, this should be able to go almost all the way down through into the T slot. Looks like it's a little tight there, but And I need to shorten these bolts just slightly. There you go. So I can hold down tooling in those directions. So there's always some adapting that you'll have to do with projects like this. But again, I think it'll be super helpful. I know out here at the very ends, it'll be able to go just fine. Just put it out here on the very ends just so I can illustrate it. So this is the reason for this cheese plate. Once I get it all set up nice, I plan on doing like an upgrade video, like, hey, this is what I would do as far as upgrades, you know. If you're going to buy one of these presses, this is the kind of thing I would do with it. I plan on doing a lot of videos around that sort of stuff. I plan on measuring the actual output tonnage of these. See, what is it actually 2 ton? You know, is it actually a 2 ton piece, or is it not? You know, inspiring minds would like to know, or inquiring minds, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So I can put something like this down now. I can bolt a plate like this down, put those little tabs on there, put those little finger tabs on it. I can insert a plate that I'm working on, or put a die on it, rather. Tighten this stuff down. Just like so. And now that plate's not going anywhere. It's rock solid. See? And now I'll show you this. Show you how this works. So mind you, this is cold. So see this end? Cold bar. So here we go. Roll this around. You guys see that okay? So this thing's going to be wonderful for chasing work. Hold in one spot, you can really give it gusto, really get a deep groove. Again, everything I'm using this thing for is going to be for very light work. Just stuff like this, where I'm barely moving it like this to create my dies for chasing work. The big fly press was a little too heavy-handed. It was not nice. It was not nice to the little dies. So, but yeah, so expect a video out on this. I plan on coming out with one. There'll be a whole series on these, of course, like you do when you're a YouTube Smith. Awesome. Glad you guys think it looked good. All right, now that process is done. Yeah, you see the big fly press in the back, the anvil weights. That one's a monster. That one does a lot of work. I wish I could show, if anybody ever comes to my shop, you get to see the size difference. This thing is way tiny. I mean, this thing's that tall, as where that thing is almost as full tall as my whole torso, down to my knees even tall. So a big height difference. So I plan on putting the measurements on those too as well, so you kind of get an idea or feel for size. All right, I'll come back a little bit. Let's see here. Black with white lettering, exactly. Somebody said something. Sorry to hear that, Anthony Ryan. Yeah, purple dyes. There you go. Do purple dyes. Yeah, black and gold. Again, black has a very professional look to it. It hides all the grease that you're going to end up putting on it, grease and oil really well. I just don't like blue. I just don't like blue. Blue's not my fave. But, I mean, who cares? It's a tool, right? You know, it's a tool, but, you know, you should be able to choose what tool, you know, what color you'd like your tools from time to time, right? We like our cars to be certain colors. So why not our tooling, right? Lauren, God bless you too as well. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for all your support over the years. Centered Ironworks, good night. God bless you. Thank you for being here. Tim O'Connor, hello, hello. Awesome, Anthony Ryan. Praise God for that. He got you out of the truck. Oh, Perception Ascending. Like the videos. Thank you, Perception Ascending. I'm glad you like the videos. Yeah, and as people see people leaving, please, if you see people show up in any of the streams that Jess and I do, or you see people taking off, please, say hi and bye to them. Sometimes I miss the comments, and I feel bad about that, but my brain gets gets took up with everything else I'm doing. So I don't mean to be a jerk. Especially our Friday night lives when we do our giveaway lives. It's very hard to keep up with everybody. Oh. So, Side Hill Forging. What's new with Roy? Any videos that aren't out yet? Let's see here. So what's new with me? I'm on a diet right now. That's kind of a personal thing. Trying to slim back down, hoping that will help my feet out some. Just not being as heavy, set. I'm hoping that'll help out my feet some, and just some other general health concerns. So I'm hoping that'll help out. Let's see here. As far as videos, I have quite a few in the tank. I've got quite a yeah, big jerk. That's right. That's right, Bobby. Good night. Dog Bones, take care. Good night. Yep, Tim O'Connor, a new one, a smaller one. It's a number 2 fly press, or a 2-ton output. So I have, so I can continue to answer that question, what's new in my world? I have a boatload of filming that I got to do around this fly press and Thomas's fly press that he bought, a number 5. People ask me all the time, where do you find a fly press at? Well, the only way I can say is if you're not just hunting the internet, Facebook Marketplace, looking on eBay, looking for deals, stuff like that, then you have to go new. If you're going to go new, the only company I know of that's selling new fly presses is Blacksmith Supply. Or if you look at their Old World Anvils site, it's ran by the same good people. John, he's a nice guy, and I can vouch for his personal character. Personally, he's a very nice, sweet man. Again, he does a lot for blacksmithing in general. So real good guy. So, anyways. If he wasn't, I wouldn't be working with him this year as far as a sponsorship. So I've got a sponsor of the channel. I've got a channel sponsor now, and that's going to be Blacksmith Supply. That'll be this year. So I've got like a year of videos that I'll be doing where there'll be some mentions about John at Blacksmith Supply, and then really I've got a couple destruction test videos that are probably going to make some people cringe. Just because, well, hey, it's the internet, right? We got to do something to gain attraction and anger the humans, the peoples of the internet. It helps the algorithm on the channel. We plan on doing something special for 500,000 subscribers. We are almost at 500K subs, so that'll be coming soon. That'll be we'll probably going to do some sort of special live stream around that when we hit 500,000 subscribers, which will be coming very, very soon. It might even come before our next giveaway live, so be on the lookout for that. Tim O'Connor tomorrow. It might be tomorrow. I don't know. So you're very welcome, Side Hill Forging. Okay. Well, hey, you take care, Side Hill Forging. Thanks you for being here. If you're taking off. Yeah, 498K right now. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. So, yeah, less than 2K to go. So we might be there in the next week or so. I don't know. It could blow up overnight. We'd be at 1 million. You never know. So I'm not putting anything to it. I have in the shop, another update for the shop. I plan on, I kind of want to go through this series. I really want to go through this series. I hate hate saying it because then I feel like it won't happen, but I'll just say it, whether it happens or not, it won't. I have a very old pattern book. So a very old, well, I shouldn't say very old. Well, I guess it's very old. So I have a book of designs, basically. And in this, it's a collection of catalogs that were produced back in the early 20s, like 1920s to 1930s. They did a series of these pamphlets, these books, okay? And they were for guys who were coming back from war, right? So they were from guys who were coming back from the First World War, and they were kind of like a trades type thing. So people were coming back. It was a way of them, getting into a different craft or a trade, if you will. And so from what I understand. And anyway, so these booklets are kind of like assembled. They're like individual like booklets that were produced. And as far as I know, I have a copy of the only other copy that is known to exist other than in the Library of Congress. So Jessica, for one of my birthday, actually, for one of my birthdays, my old mentor and friend Raymond, he had passed away sadly many years ago, but before he passed away, she got with him and said, "Hey, can I copy your books? Like photocopy these books, so this way Roy can have, because I really like the books." And he had a whole pile of them. He has a stack of them, a complete collection. And so the only other full collection of these type of articles and books that we know of are in the Library of Congress. Now, there's probably somebody who has them out there. Who knows? They might have portions of it. I don't know. But as far as I know, that's the story behind it anyhow. So she made a copy of all these, and so she assembled them all really nicely in a nice binder for me. And what I would like to do is I would personally like to go through that as a series because they have projects in there. They have projects like weather vanes, right? They have projects, they have all sorts of stuff. Candle sconces, they have hat racks, they have all sorts of stuff, and they give like dimensions. They even give like kind of like how-tos, like how to do certain elements, and then they kind of like let you figure out how you're going to put it together. So it's a very cool, book. I don't even know what to call it. It's not a book. It's not an actual full book. It's a series of pamphlets, is what it is, that were all assembled together to make like a book. So I want to, and it's out of copyright, so it's not like it's something that if I were to share it, that it would be some sort of legal issue of any sort. But take and share what I'm doing, and then possibly do a video on it, and then encourage everybody else to try it for themselves as well, and then like maybe even producing potentially those documents. I would really like to do that. I don't know if that'll be this year. It might be after my Masterwork gets done in a couple years. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes. But most currently, the thing I'm most excited about that's coming up here real soon is, if I'm continuing talking about me for a second, which I will. It's my channel, right? I'll just talk about me. So, yeah, like John Switzer did with some of the Masterwork stuff. Yep, that's right. It's different though, because these are like published articles of how you do this. And some of the cool parts about it is how you do it with like very little tooling. Like they were literally using an anvil vise for most of the forging. So, one of those vices that have the little anvil in the back, same era, which is very cool. Thank you, Dan Harold, for the Forging Gold Fund. Thank you for beginner vids. I can now forge a leaf in a bottle opener, LOL. Awesome. Awesome. You are well on your way there, brother. Well on your way. Yeah, the Tannerite test on the Harbor Freight anvil. Yeah, that might happen. Who knows? I never know. I might get real desperate for views. So I have a warm-up grill that I'm going to be working on. for my Masterwork grill. It's just something for fun. It will be using a very similar technique I did on some of my Baroque style wall hooks I've made a little while ago. I did a video series on those, and so I plan on doing a grill, and this will, hopefully it'll be a grill that I can complete before quad state. That's my goal with it. It's going to be, it's what I call a warm-up grill, a grill for the actual grill, the Masterwork grill, and it'll help showcase some of the stuff that's might be going in the masterpiece grill. Let's do it. Sounds like a lot of people are excited about that. By the way, my treadle is set up and in testing well. Love it. Awesome. So glad, Tim O'Connor. I'm glad you're in love with the treadle hammer. I'm in love with it. It works great. You take care too, Jeff. I didn't get to spend as much time with you guys over at Bar Run Forges, you and your wife, Jeff. But I really want to say from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate all your support. And all the time you spend watching the channel, and all your kind words from both you and your wife. It blesses Jessica and I's heart. So thank you very much for that. And I hope you have a wonderful night. And tell Janice we said hello. God bless you both. Bobby Lana, well, there goes the first place spot. I don't know about that. You cannot tell when it comes to the you can't tell when it comes to the judging at blacksmithing events, right? You think that traditional ironwork would do well. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it just comes down to personal fancy, right, from the judges. So you really can't tell. It's like a fart in a windstorm. I mean, it really is sometimes. I've put work in that, I believed was uber cool, right? And by far, it was definitely a different take. Like, I had a burning bush. I don't know if... Don't meme that up. I made a sculpture of a recreation of Moses in the burning bush. And I actually made it was a little tree sculpture, a little plant like bush sculpture that was on a rock, and it actually caught fire. So it actually had propane ran through it, and if you lit it, it would catch fire and it would burn, without ever burning up, wouldn't be consumed, because it had propane that ran through it. Yeah, I'll answer you in a second, Chuck. So I thought that would win. Didn't even get recognized at all. Like, nothing at all. Like, there was like this skeleton lampshade that won. And it wasn't even that great a forging. Like, it really wasn't. I couldn't see it. I thought like mine would have really did well, but no. I mean, it was a novelty. People were like, oh, okay, hey, cool. And then they just kind of walked on, they didn't get it. Now, to be fair, I wasn't allowed to light it on fire inside of the building to showcase what it does, but that's the way that works. Chuck Miller, does that literature have illustrations, pics, or drawings to go with the dimensions, etc.? Yes, it does. So it does have it does have like drawings, like little how-to drawings to do things, and it does have the actual the full finished piece drawn out. So I think that's really cool. I might show it in a members live at some point, or maybe in a regular live stream if I can work that in. It's a lot. It's a big pamphlet, and I'll have to show it off. I don't, I can't even remember the exact name, the exact titling they did for the series. But as far as I know, I may have the only surviving copy right now at this point of that. I know where the other copy's at, but we'll see. But again, it's a collection of pamphlets, so they're like, it's this thick. It's multiple pamphlets. I think they produced like 20 or 30 of these pamphlets that all had 10, 20 projects in the pamphlets with stuff. So it would be very cool to do that, I think, and just kind of bring that homage back to Depression era smithing. Let's hear. Awesome. Like Tim was saying about John at Black Bear Forge and the Mastermeyer, some of the drawings were off a bit. Yeah, and some of the drawings are probably going to be off. You know, again, you're looking at something that was dug up, right? And then somebody's interpreting, right, those things. But this was actually produced as a technical drawing type stuff for people, for men who were returning from war and needing new vocations, right? So it was like vocational. It's almost like a vocational school type pamphlet book type deal. So it's really cool. I plan on sharing that at some point with the channel. I think it would be really cool to actually just go through the various projects and do them exactly like they say, and just see the result. I think that would be fun. And I think none of it, like, it has a ball peen hammer, a vise anvil. So it's like a vise with the anvil on the back. I might even have to go out and buy one of those just so I can do the projects the way that they did it. And that's it. Nothing special. Nothing special. Show you setting rivets at the vise anvil, everything. They show everything can be done right at that little, vise anvil combo thing. So that's a pretty cool, I think that's kind of pretty cool. And that's what I found most interesting about it. It's like, whoa, okay. Yeah, they're like literally showing like what can be accomplished, it's about skill and not. But they have like patterns that you can size for weather vanes and stuff, like weather vanes, even like mechanical weather vanes and stuff. Very, very cool. I plan on going through some of those. Frank Strock, take care, brother. Thank you for being here. God bless you. Drew Wilson, I've had plenty of coffee. Gun clutching Palin, God bless you. I'm so glad I'm appreciated in that house. I'm glad I'm appreciated in your house. Yeah, vice anvil a couple years back. Yeah, again, people are like, oh, what do you want one of these things for, right? It's not a real anvil. Again, they used it. Sure enough, I mean, it went with it. So, but yeah, I wish Raymond was still alive. If Raymond was still alive, I would have loved to put him. He wasn't for it. He would have not been for being in front of the camera. But I wish I could have just got tape recorders of him talking, about the way it used to be. Because he started in his dad's blacksmith and welding shop. It started as a blacksmith shop predominantly, and then went into welding as welding technology progressed. And they got out of horse and buggy and got to motor cars. They progressed right along with it. And, he started in the shop at 9. He was 9 years old when he started blacksmithing, beating out plowshares on a little giant, a 25-pound little giant. 9 years old and was beating out plowshares and reshaping them. And, just, man, his stories he had to tell about that were amazing. They were just amazing stories. And he actually, even though he enjoyed doing the smithing and he kind of enjoyed doing the welding, that wasn't really his passion. He wanted to be a veterinarian. That's what he wanted to do. And his dad told him, well, I can leave you the farm as your inheritance, or I can sell a bunch off and pay for you to go to college to be a veterinarian, but I can't do both. So, you have to choose, right? I can leave you the farm and you can get set up with a wife and, start life that way, or I can sell off a bunch of stuff and, give you a better life, let you go after the veterinarian dream. So he ended up doing the practical thing and, decided he didn't want to, he wouldn't go down the route of being a veterinarian. He would just stay in the shop and work and, take over the farm. And so that's what he ended up doing. And, and then he worked as a smith and welder and fabricator for like 55 years. So long time. Man, he had some killer, again, just some killer stories. I wish he was still alive. I miss that. I miss that old man. So. Hello, Transcendental Art Studios. Evening, y'all. Yeah, so I wish he was, I wish he was around still, but that's how it works. He's went on to the great forge in the sky. Chris Kelly, not huge news. You'll have to, we're just hanging out. I got a recent piece done. You have to go back to the earlier portion of the stream if you want to see any of that. But I basically just made a cheese plate for this fly press that I picked up from Blacksmith Supply to make it more versatile for me in my shop. So, yep. So that's what we've been doing. If you want to look, we made that plate tonight. I was just fabricating that up. So there you go. That's what you missed. Pretty darn exciting. It's not that exciting. The British guilds or something like that had a trade program, Tim O'Connor says, like what you were talking about with pamphlets as well. Yeah, they did. Yep, I'm doing good. I'm doing good there. Transcendental Art Studios, I'm doing good. Well, as good as can be expected, anyhow. Yeah, now it needs new stickers on it. Yep, needs all sorts of new stickers. So, yeah, so I think that would be an exciting series. I still want to be devoted to, helping, beginning smiths out with stuff. I hope I can keep doing video series around that, projects. I think that one would just be fun. I think that'd be fun. It's a project building kind of series, but it also helps build skill along the way. And I think a lot of people could participate in that and have a lot of fun with it. Especially if and I'll have to look into it, if I can release release a copy of the pamphlet that we're going through currently, like at the project, right? Like I can just put that on my website as a download and you just go over there and freely download it or whatever. And that way you can have it yourself, and you can follow along. So. Perception ascending. I'm blessed to hear your testimony. Don't want to keep you after hours. Just been listening off and on over the last year-ish. Very cool. Very cool. I'm glad you're blessed to hear my testimony. Yeah, Bobby. The shorts. Some people don't like the shorts. I get it. I'm not a fan of shorts myself. I don't sit there and watch shorts all day. It's not my kind of content. It is not my bag. The shorts are not. But YouTube, they have decided that's the only way you're getting discovered now is through shorts. So if you're not doing short form content, they are not putting your channel in front of eyeballs at all. And I do mean at all. When they made that change, our viewership, we dropped steeply without doing shorts. And I do mean steeply. We were crashing hard and not getting any traffic to any of our videos. And it's because we weren't doing shorts. And so we put out the shorts and all of a sudden, boom, we have a big spike in growth and subscribers and viewership went up and views on our older videos went up as soon as we started playing the ball like YouTube wanted. So Roger Caldwell, God bless you. Good night, sir. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all your support, brother. Stephen Parsons, for a second there, I thought you were talking about the shorts, the clothing you want to wear, just like the kilt you won't wear. Yeah, no, not that kind of shorts. Yeah, so yeah, I'm not a shorts type of guy. I'm not. I have too much intelligence for that, I think. I'm too old. Yeah, just too old at this point. I'm not that old, but I feel old, so I just don't really have the time for that. I'm not amused by that, by shorts. But they're the way the thing goes. So, Jessica, she's been putting all the work in on the shorts. She's been making all of the shorts and getting them out there, and she's been trying to show them. So she shows the older videos, right? She's pulling up all of our older content. She's farming those. She's shortening down just like brief bullet points in hopes that people will go watch the actual full video. That has been working pretty all right so far. So. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly, Alex. You know, like, yeah, I get it. They're, you know, they're kind of like just teasers of a video you've already seen. So, you know, but not everybody's seen all of my videos. And I can tell you not everybody's seen all my videos because there are videos on this channel of 1,800 videos that still only have 300 views. And so 300 views on a channel that has 500,000 subscribers, I guarantee you, not everybody has seen those videos. You know, so I'm just hoping to get that backlog watch. Some of the videos I wish they would just stay dead, but you know, I have no control over what Jessica is pushing out there. So she just picks and chooses and puts them up. So, you know, I just let her run that, and I just focus on working on the regular video content. I am putting more effort into the regular videos. I don't know if anybody's noticed at all. I've been working hard to try to up my editing game, put a lot more effort into them, get a lot more, you know, try to put more effort into, you know, making them more catchy, making the information more delivered in a more cohesive way, right? I've been just trying to refine my teaching skills on the platform so I can best serve the community, you know? You know, that's what I've been trying to do. And so the shorts are just like filler right now between me trying to get videos out. I'm sitting on like 4 videos, but they're taking forever. You know, they take forever. The B-roll takes forever and all that other stuff, so. No, that is fair, LO. I mean, the future pull the shorts ahead of time instead of on the back end. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you like them, Tim O'Connor. Yeah, yeah, compilation of Roy's awkward moments. By the way, I saw Possum Sausage pop in here. Good to have you. And Thomas, hello. Hello. Yeah, no, they do. Jessica makes the shorts from the longer version. And so she always links that up in the little description thing on the shorts thing, on the short shelf. So you should be able to take them, you know, click the link and go watch the full-time video. So yeah, so I'm hoping that's working. You know, it is panning out. Like I said, the one short we got over 200 million views on, and that's the predominant growth of the last, you know, 400,000 subscribers that have come to the channel. Will they stick around? Who knows? I don't know. I hope they will. I hope they'll like the content we put out and the effort I'm putting in to stuff. So we'll have to see how that goes. I plan on doing more blacksmith tool review videos, just because there's tons of questions. There's tons of questions like what should I buy, this and that. Like this channel is pretty well funded and community supported, so I would like to put that money where, you know, other people's mouths are in, you know, online forums and actually buy and test equipment. You know, that way beginners aren't wasting their time or money or valuable resources, you know, so. Batman shorts, there you go. I like that, Devon Maker. There's a lot of funny little side commentary going on there. Yeah, Chris Kelly. It takes a strong man to know he has no control over the wife. That's right. Oh. Yeah, so let's see here. Somebody asked, one of you asked there. Let me answer that question. I'm going to answer that. A. Simpson. Roy, what's your favorite thing you have made for the channel? So I would say one of my most favorite things I've made for the channel was a French Baroque sign bracket. I did a whole video on that. I did like everything from the cantus leaves to gold leafing to you name it on it. that was one of my favorites. Anything for Baroque ironwork, I really like that. So I really like Baroque ironwork. I like anything with gold leafing and silver leaf and stuff like that. So I really, I really appreciate, I really enjoy making that for the channel. That has not gotten the traction, you'd be surprised, but that type of high-end ironwork actually doesn't get a lot of views on YouTube. It doesn't get a lot of street cred on the whole YouTube home front there. More of the beginner or intermediate videos get a lot more traction. But as far as professionally putting out that kind of content, I really like showcasing what I can do. And so that's been my favorite so far. My new favorite is coming up soon. So I have a very scrolly, very beautiful, grill that I'm going to be making. And it's going to be a lot of scrolls that'll be in it. I'm really going to like that. And then my most favorite will be my Masterwork grill. That will probably be my piece de la resistance. It's going to be good. Yeah, you get to listen to Roy now, Thomas. That's right. Hey, don't stay up too late. You better be into work on time tomorrow. Yeah, there you go. The stick it to cricket hammer. Yeah, I like that one. Dan, that's from a long time ago, wasn't it? I was pretty salty about that. That was pretty good. Pretty good. So, yeah, that's kind of my favorite. I've been having fun with my editing on the channel as well. I've been having fun with it. That's the only way to do it because it is boring and it is monotonous and it's not my thing. I like to forge and I like to, I like to work in the shop. I like being out here, not sitting behind a computer screen. But, it takes both. So, yeah, so I'm hoping this one grill, I'll have it done in time for Quad State. I will have my Masterwork grill done in 2 years from now, so that should be finished, fully finished then. It will have, oh, there we are. We're live. It just kind of crashed and came back. Hopefully people are here. So my Masterwork grill will take about 2 years to complete. And so I'm looking, 2025 for the unveiling of that. I plan on doing like little snippets around it as I go, not revealing the full thing, but various elements, doing forged videos on those and maybe even tutorial videos on specific elements that I'm adding to it. And, just little teaser clips. And then I plan on unveiling that at Quad State 2025. So that's my plan as of right now for my Masterwork grill. As far as this beginner grill, not beginner, but, my warm-up grill, just for fun, I plan on getting that done ready for Quad this fall. And hopefully that'll be really good to go. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be fun. I'm getting excited about it. It's the kind of work I'm excited about. And by me being honest about not taking on more client work and doing things like that, I can focus on what I actually really want to do, and I can focus on the teaching and the education, and I can focus on the shop and the YouTube, and I can focus on those things and hopefully make things better and be more consistent and be more attentive to you all out there than I have been in the past. So it's just time. Alexis, yeah, I'm beat you, Roy. You go right for it there. Josh Rivas, I know you don't do knives, but I just found a really old high carbon steel hand forged chef's knife and the tip has been rounded off. Should I fix it? And if so, how? Well, if it's been rounded off, you have to decide whether it was broken off or whether it was, just kind of, bent, wore down from sharpening over time. Usually you can just regrind the tip and resharpen it. Barring that, depending on what it's made from, you might even get lucky with being able to peen out the tip a little bit and then reshape it and do that cold peen out the tip of it and then resharpen it. Yep, you're gonna beat me with the gallery. I got what you were saying. Oh, okay. It was ground off. If it was ground off, you might try peening it, but you might snap it off. I would just redress the tip if you can. Beyond that, you're gonna have to wreck the heat treat, to heat it up to do it safely and actually forge out a new tip on it. And after you've got ground lines and bevels, that's not necessarily possible to do. So I would recommend, depending on what condition it is, either cold peening it out like a scythe, like you would do with a scythe, or just go ahead and leaving it alone and grinding a new tip to it, sharped. And hello, Eric. Howdy do. So yeah, that's what's new and going on around here. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff. There's just a whole bunch of the daily going-ons in the shop that Thomas and I are constantly working on and doing. We plan on coming to Quad State loaded for bear. Plenty of blanks this year. All sorts of new designs. Again, I'm looking for late June, early July for the treadle hammer upgrade for the 40-pound head with the interchangeable dies. We'll have to see how that works. Again, I have to test out my own shop. I have to make sure it's really good. Debauch maker. Yeah, they're cold peen sides and they were not hardened. Again, I don't know the condition of some of them. Old knives weren't that hard of material. They weren't hardened. So I asked, did it break off and they reground, or what was it? If it's a really old knife, it may be a good chance that it lost the tip because there wasn't any hardenable material at the tip. That's something to look in. I don't know because I ain't got the knife sitting in front of me. But yeah, so we plan on coming to Quad State again with loaded for bear with a ton of stuff, lots of blanks, putting on a good show. We'll be there demonstrating. We'll be demonstrating the treadle hammer kit while we're there, and so letting people have a play with that as well, because we ran it at Central Virginia off a little 3-gallon air compressor all weekend long for 3 days straight, and it ran flawlessly on a 3-gallon air compressor. So I think that's a huge opportunity that a lot of people are missing out on right now, and I don't think they will after Quad State. So we plan on bringing a demo rig on that and showcasing that off. I plan on having I should have the heavy hammer upgrade finished, engineered, made by then. And so yeah, a lot of exciting stuff. The stuff I'm most excited about is the forging getting onto the grill. So yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry about that, Transcendental Artist Studios. Yeah, I just got totally slammed where I just couldn't come out to it. And I got behind. That was a pain. So we do plan on being there. So even if something went poorly with my health for whatever reason, I don't want to say, I don't want to jinx myself. I'm going to shut up right there. Yeah, okay. Sorry, Lord. I'm waiting for that hammer to go dunk, hit me on the head and, fall backwards. And there you go. Roy ain't coming now. I'm just, we're just planning on Roy possibly being there. That's what we're planning on. Thomas will be there. No. Well, yeah. Sometimes you just got to know when to call her it before you speak up too much and then say too many things. It just seems like anytime I'm like, oh yeah, I'm definitely doing this, a whole host of life gets in the way. So I'm hoping that won't be the case this year. Even if I got to be like completely drugged up to be there, I'm going to try my best to be there. Yeah, get yourself an oxygen amplifier and wheel yourself in. I hope I don't get that bad. Yep, good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. And hail don't freeze over. So I'm hoping this year. So I've got like tool racks, tool stands, like, you know, I plan on having those like assembled, ready to go, kind of to be able to show them off, the kits and stuff. Yeah, we got a lot of new tooling this year that we've added, and so we're going to bring all that with. And I got a lot of like acanthus leaf blanks. I've got a lot of like blossoms and various designs of that I plan on bringing out too. Joshua, I'm glad you really like those tool racks. Tim O'Connor, how about a few vids on making top tools for the treadle hammer? Yeah, I do need to do a video list of making tooling for under the treadle hammer for like top tools. I did make a video on my my tong held tooling. I made a whole video series on that, and that's kind of how I would do them because those are what I use under the treadle hammer. So I might do like a small one and just show a little bit. You know what I mean? Just show one or two different styles, and then point you back to the older videos that I filmed already. Yep, Kurt Schaefer. It'll be coming soon. Oh, using the tooling too. Yeah, I'd like to do that. Forge it and use it. I mean, that's kind of what I'm trying to do. I've been bad in the past. It's like, okay, hey, I'm going to make a tool, right? Like, I'll make a top tool. Like, I'm making a punch. Okay, thanks for joining me. I made this punch. And I didn't, like, I look at some of my older videos. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I made the punch, but I didn't show anything of the punch being used, right? So I didn't share the additional context. I was bad about that, you know, a few years ago. So I'm trying to do better now and be able to show B-roll of it actually being used. So you can see how it's working, you know, so. Oh, sorry to hear that, Bobby. Just quit. You just tell the boss, that's the way it's going to be. I got to go to Quad State. He's like, what's Quad State? It's important. No, don't quit. Don't quit your day job just to go to Quad State. You know, you do need money to both fly you there and fly you back and, you know, bring you with money, you know, stuff like that. Last thing you would do is put your job in jeopardy for it. So, although I did tell when I was in HVAC, I was a bad employee. Let's just say I was a bad employee. Like, I was pretty well set. Like, if I said I was going to go someplace and the boss is like, oh, these are red days or these are blackout days, you can't do that. I'm like, yeah, okay, tough nuts, I'm doing it. So I was like, nah, I'm doing it. You're filthy, Thomas. You're filthy. Get out of here. Hey, Kid KV. Yes, Thomas. Kid KV says, you did a great job on the mess hooks. Well, they got the CBA out there. They've got some events out in California. There, Joshua. Yep. I was already on the phone to the boss. Oops. Hopefully I didn't overstep my bounds there. If I did, oh well, I don't take back comments. So yeah, yeah. When it came to it, I was that way with my employment. When I wanted to do something, I was like, I'm just doing it. So if you want to train somebody else for my job, oh well, right? You know, like, if that's what you want to do. You want somebody else to bring in, you know, freaking $30K a week, go for it. You know, good luck to you. You know, I can go get another job like tomorrow. You know, and HVAC's kind of one of those jobs that there's always needing for bodies, especially depending on the time of season. If it's summer or winter, you can get a job anywhere. You know, that's one of the benefits. Especially if you live in a place that gets really hot or really cold. Matt Wyatt, is there just 2 tool rack sizes? So the tool racks, I have a floor standing model and I have a wall mounted model. The only differences in them is they come with either just the flat pieces themselves, or they come with the full package that has all the bar stock cut to 2 foot in length. So you kind of get to choose, right? So you get to choose. The floor model that I have, it's 30 inches tall and 2 foot wide. But it doesn't have to be. You just add your own 1/4x1 flat bar stock, and you can make it as long as you want. So you can do up to 8 feet or so long with that 1/4x1 flat bar stock because it's up edgeways. If you want it, so I did 5 foot long in my shop because I needed that length for all of my tools. So I did 5 foot long stands. It also comes with feet that can be for mounting, or the holes are big enough for casters. You can put casters underneath it so you can make it a roll around tool stand. That's for the floor model. The wall mount model is the same, is a similar concept, but it's meant to be bolted to a wall. And the way the tabs get welded on and everything, it's set up perfectly for a 16-inch on center wall stud. So it eliminates all the guesswork. When you weld the feet on exactly the way they're supposed to be flush, and you just pre-drill and run your lag bolts in, you're good to go. Yeah, Bobby. Hoping that new video series gives me the secret to shift to full-time smithing. Well, I plan on sharing a lot in that. So, and your work is definitely good enough to start and to do full-time smithing. So the biggest thing for anybody getting into that, and again, we plan on. I think we'll do a series on it now, an updated series on the business of smithing. The trick right now is it's all exposure and the ability to take and cast as wide a net as you can online, because online never sleeps, and you start slowly bringing in more and more work, right? You bring in more and more orders, right? You get more and more orders coming through, right? And they keep coming, and they keep coming up, and eventually you're going to reach this precipice point where you have more work sitting at home to do than what you care to go to work and do, right? And what you care to do at your day job. Now, for some people, that's the right answer. Some people are the right answer. That's the jumping off point. For others, maybe, it's too cush of a job. It's a nice job, you like your employer, you like your, your workmates that you're working with, and the camaraderie and stuff like that, like, if you like that, stay and find a way to work around. Maybe you can go to part-time, maybe you do, do a lot of different things. There is some wiggle room, especially if you're a valued member of a team somewhere. You can find that wiggle room to still pursue your dreams as a full-time smith as well, or just doing it part-time and find more time to do that. I've known many smiths that have taken the advice that I've given and they've ran with it, and they've taken it to the point where, again, it did get to that point where they had to bounce out of their full-time job. Oh, Blacksmith, good night. Take care. Vineyard Farmhouse, hey there. Christ Centered Ironworks, Roy. Hello, Vineyard Farmhouse. Good to see you. Yeah, the majority of the customers. Yeah, well, that can happen. That can happen. But see, that won't go away if you go into it full time as a business as well. You have to work with, like, you have to work with customers. You've got to work with the customers. Mark Peterson, hello, 6 Watt. So you still have to be able to have good customer communication skills. You're going to meet some customers that you're going to absolutely love, some customers that you're going to hate. You're like, I don't ever want to do work for that person again. You're going to meet them all in between, because you are in customer service when you are, when you're in the smithing industry. Ultimately, you have to present yourself well. Chris Schaefer, did Thomas just fire Roy? Roy, we got this without you. Nothing personal, just business. LOL. Yeah, that's right, Thomas. Nothing personal, just business. Eric, I've been through that, buddy. Oh man, yeah, yeah, you're preaching to the choir here. Yeah, yeah. Or they send you out on a job with pearl white carpeting on the rainiest, nastiest, muddy day imaginable. It's like a full system install. Yeah, yeah, pearl white carpeting, like through the whole house. White. Yeah, no. They're like, oh, you got to get it done. Hi, you going anywhere in their house? Yeah, yeah, I'll walk away. It's like, nope, not doing that. Ain't gonna be on me. You got to replace, $80,000 carpeting. Oh, yeah, you can't be afraid to walk away from those jobs. Oh, yeah. So anything you do takes a leap of faith, right? It does. Like, and I'm not even speaking from the sense, I'm a Christian, so that means different things for me. But as far as a leap of faith, right? It's faith in your abilities. It's a faith that it's going to work out. It's a belief that you are going to be able to make it, and it's a hope, right? Like, so at some point, you have to make the jump. You have to make the jump. And you may fail. You may not fly the first time. You may make the jump and go flat on your face. That may happen. And it's that fear of falling and potentially failing at something that we're really passionate about that oftentimes holds us back the most, because that's what causes us to second guess, triple guess, quadruple guess everything we're doing. And then we overthink it. And we just overthink what we should just be doing. If you are passionate, I've said it 1,000 times, you can never fail at something that you are passionate about. You may not succeed at the level that you have for yourself or expectations. You may not meet up to your own measure of expectations, but you can never fail at something that you are super passionate about. It's always going to be a passion for you in your heart. And so we only get one ride on this rock, on this planet, and choose to do what you want to do with that ride on this rock. You get one ticket, and once it's punched in, it's punched in. If you have the ability to do so, do what you can to do what you are passionate about with your ride on this rock. Because it's not all about money. It's not all about keeping up with the status quo. It's not all about all that. It's about living the best version of you that you can do. And no one can tell you what that is but you. Good night, Joe. Thank you so much. God bless you. May you have a very blessed week as well. So, yeah. So, I don't know. I don't mean to go too preachy on that. I hope that's encouraging to some of you all out there that are thinking about, going into this full time. I have made a very good career of it. There are times where the money was tight. There was times where I didn't know whether I was going to pay my bills. There was times where I even considered hanging up the hat and going and just getting a different job somewhere else, but stuck with it, tightened the belts, stuck with it, pulled through, and there was always, God always had a job right there around the corner for us, and when we needed it most, when we needed that extra boost of whatever, the income, or for whatever reason, it was there. It worked out. And all we had to do was keep our shoulders to the plow and keep our chins held high and just keep moving forward. And, and we're here where we are now. This is a long way from a little 6x10 shed, right? Pallet building. It's a long way from that. And we would have never got there if I would have never took the leap, right? If I would have never took the full leap. Now, my story, my backstory, God didn't give me a choice, so to speak, right? I was kind of on the fence. I'm like, I got a baby on the way. I don't know. I really, we just got to a stable point. I feel it in my heart of hearts that I need to be doing this for a living. This is what I need to do with my life. This is my thing. I found my thing, my it thing. This is going to be it for me. This blacksmithing thing. I'm on to something here. And I felt like I needed to quit for 2-3 weeks. I was like, I need to quit doing HVAC. I'm not happy with what I'm doing. I'm not happy with the clients. I'm not happy with the owners. I'm just not happy in my life and what I'm doing here. I really want to do this. I think we could have a good shot at it, but I was scared to do so. And then I got in a car wreck. And then God removed that choice for me. He removed that obstacle of fear for me because I had no other options. And I spent 6 months on a walker and, like an additional 6 months on a cane recovering from that car wreck and doing like medial jobs and whatever could come through the, whatever came through the door, right? Just anything that would put bread on the table for my family. I had a baby in that time. In that time frame, and the first 2 years was rough. My first months, my first like months of real full-time smithing pay was $600 a month. We were making $600 a month. Think about that, $600 a month for a family of 4 at that point, right? Family of 4, and it took 2 years. It took a year. It took a solid year to where we got up to like $1,000 a month, making $12,000 a year. And, we were on food stamps. We were on WIC for the kids, and I was doing everything I could. I was still really injured and very messed up. I couldn't work for real long times. I could only work for, 3 hours at a time. And then like, I had to go lay down for the rest of the day. Like I had 3 hours and then I had to lay down. Like that was it. And I had to take painkillers to just get out of the pain that I caused myself. And that was it. That was my life. And, and I didn't think it was going to ever get any better. I didn't think it was ever going to get any better. But we stuck with it. God was good. God was merciful and gracious to us. And he kept healing me and kept working with me and kept sending orders and kept sending encouragement and jobs. And there was a time I about pulled up stakes on life altogether. And I did. I came real close, like real close. Anybody who's ever had to deal with chronic pain, and especially pain that's overwhelming type pain, you know the feeling. You know what it's like. You get to a point where you're just like, dude, I'm just done. Like, I'm just so done with waking up. It's not even funny. And so through that, walked with God through that, very rough, very difficult time. Meanwhile, Jessica got pregnant again. Oh, surprise, we know how that happens, right? So must have been healthy enough. And then my son was on the way. And, and slowly, and again, as I was getting back, it was getting back into things, right? And then, it slowly, it stayed at $1,500 to maybe $2,000 a month for years, just years and years, right? And just, as my grandparents used to say, cornbread and starvation. Cornbread, beans, and starvation. Yes, that's what they would say. They came from a different time. They came from the hills of Kentucky, so they knew hard times, harder times than what I was living through. But we lived off the land. We lived off the garden. That was where predominantly our stuff came from. We did it. We did what we had to. So I fully believe that any of you out there, if you put the time, the energy, and the passion into your work, and you put it into your business that you want to get started, you cannot fail. You cannot fail at something that you're passionate about. You can't. You can give up, but you can't fail. Can't fail. So I hope that's an encouragement to you, Robert. I don't mean to single you out, but I'm just speaking from one brother to another, and anybody out there, guy, gal, whatever, don't matter. Like, do what you're passionate about. You get one crack at life, and you need to go after it. So, people don't people don't know the things that I've been through in my life to the point that I'm at now. There's people I get said this a lot. It used to bug me more. Every now and then it'll hit me in the feels, right? You know, Chris Kelly, good night, brother. Thank you for being here. Every now and then it'll hit me in the feel. You know, I'll get the commentary. Oh, must be nice, right? Oh, must be nice to have a fly press. Must be nice to have a power hammer. You know, must be nice to have a working forge. And it's just like, it's said out of such complete ignorance. You know, they're talking to a person that spent a good portion of my young life before I was a teenager homeless. Like, you know, I mean, my family was through the ringer. I mean, homeless, like not a joke, like literally homeless for, you know, about a good like 9 years of my life was spent homeless. So, you know, like I built from nothing. I didn't got no silver spoon in my mouth. There was no trust fund waiting on me, you know, to build me up. My parents did the best they could. They were struggling, you know, a lot of people's parents, a lot of people remember, you know, poor times and you know, struggling. But, you know, people talk about the government cheese. I've eaten the government cheese. I've cut mold off the government cheese so I can eat the cheese underneath the government cheese. So, you know, that like I've been there. I've done that. And to be where we are now, all I can say is God is good and praise him for that. And I know that irks some people off. They don't like hearing that. Well, let your ears burn. But I don't care. God is good, and I, you know, I wouldn't be where I'm at without him and without the love and the support of fellow brothers and sisters. And I do mean brothers and sisters of all kinds, not just in Christ, but brothers and sisters that have come alongside me and helped me to be here. So when I do say from the perspective, when I say thank you from the bottom of my heart about your support and your guys' viewership, I do mean that. Like, I know that perspective. I know the struggle that a lot of you guys have to deal with, and I live in a very privileged situation right now, a very blessed situation, and that has been brought upon by the backs and the sweat and the hard work from you all out there of spending time watching my videos, buying our stuff, you know what I mean? Like, things like that. Like, Thomas has a job because of you all out there. You know, if the CNC blanks weren't rolling through, well, Thomas would have to go out to get a regular day job somewhere because I wouldn't have enough work I'm pulling through to do it. You know what I mean? So that's, again, you know, and again, because I'm moving away from doing the production stuff, you know, so again, wouldn't be here without you all. Really wouldn't be here without you all. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I do mean that. And I hope you guys feel that. And I know some of you know from in person, you know, that. So don't mean to get all dark and serious on you, but I do appreciate each and every last one of you. And I appreciate the commentary. If I didn't, I wouldn't be here for 2 hours plus minutes taking and talking to everybody. Yeah, as Robert Whitney, as a youngster, if we had meat on the table, it was roadkill, or don't tell where it came from. Yeah. Well, hey, food's food, right? I've ate a possum or two in my day. So, you know, get it while it's fresh. It's pre-tenderized. It's pre-tenderized. So, yeah. So I just hope that'll be an encouragement, right? Like, I hear a lot, and that's kind of why I want to bring back the Business of Blacksmithing series and bring it in a new and informative way with the current world, the way the market is and everything like that, and put that information out there for folks who are thinking about getting into this, you know, getting into doing it full time, because most of it is a mental game. There's a lot of techniques and skills and things that you'll acquire, but you don't have to do it all at once. You can acquire it along the way. And then once you acquire those skills and those abilities and stuff, you just have to hustle. You just have to keep pushing forward. You have to keep pushing forward, and you have to keep your chin up and keep moving forward. So, Robert, I really hope, brother, again, your work is beyond your years. You're again, like, I'm impressed with your work. I'm proud of you, and I think that you should, I think you should go for it. I think you should crack on. So do what's right for you and your own personal family and your particular situation. But if you need that encouragement, if you need that boost of encouragement, I don't see why you would fail. I just don't. So, in fact, one day when you're out this way, I'd like to be able to do like a collab with you at some point, you know, and maybe we can even do a collab over the internet at some point. I make some portion of a project, and then you make a portion of the project, and we put it all together and assemble it. I think something like that would be fun as well, and I'm happy to support you in any way that I can going forward. So there you go. There's that handout there. Is there an Abana affiliate in your state, Mark? Okay. Someone's having side comments. There you go. I'm glad, Robert. I'm glad. Well, boy, I tell you what, I've probably talked enough for like 12 people. I sawed it on with my little side ramp there. But rah, shish kebab, I should get some pom-poms. I should get some blacksmith pom-poms with like little dangly, like 3D printed anvils on the end. Ooh, it's midnight, yeah? All right, already midnight. Jeez, I got work in the morning too. I got to get up early. Well, early. I don't roll into the shop until about 10. Thomas is here early. I always get held up inside talking about business and all sorts of other stuff. Don't forget the Thomas story previously requested. What is that? The story of Thomas. Was that in the comment here section? There, Chris Schaefer. Don't forget the Thomas story previously requested. Ah, okay. I'd like to hear how Thomas got started with you. Bribery. Short and sweet. Bribery. He bribed me. Yeah, he bribed me. So Thomas came over with so way it worked, my pastor we church would go to up here, he had Thomas trims his horse's hooves. And so for those you don't know, Thomas is a farrier. He does some farrieing work. And anyway, so he was trimming the pastor's hooves, not the pastor's hooves, but the pastor's horse's hooves. He was trimming some horse's hooves for the pastor, and he asked the pastor about blacksmith coal, if he knew anybody who was in the area that was a blacksmith or had coal. And he's like, well, hey, there's a guy who just started coming to our church. He's a blacksmith, and he lives over here. So he gave him my address. And so Thomas shows up out of the blue one day. I think it was on a weekend, and he just like pops up out of the blue, and he's on my doorstep, and he's like, hey, hi, my name's Thomas. I found out about you, from Tim, and which is her pastor's name, and then he's like, hey, he's like, I think I follow you. And then again, and then dawned on him that he had been following me for a while on YouTube as well. And so anyway, so we talked, and and I showed him the shop. I'm like, okay, this kind of, he's an interesting guy. All right, that's fine. And I was like, all right, nice to meet you, and out of here. And he's like, well, hey, maybe we get together for something. I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe, and he's like, shoo. And so he left, and the next day, he came back again out of the blue, unannounced. I'm not big on that, by the way. I'm not big on people showing up unannounced. He showed up literally the next day with it was like a cooler full of, it had to have been 50 pounds of pork. He had hams, he had bacon, he had pork tenderloins and chops and ribs and stuff like that. And he's like, oh, here, I just figured I'd bring this over to you. I just had a hog butchered. I'm like, it's like, oh. He's like, maybe we can trade, some for, maybe you can show me a thing or two in the shop, and I'll bring you over some more meat. And I'm like, maybe, You know, I'm like, not looking for a friend. I'm not looking for, I'm not looking for a friend, not looking for a compadre in the shop. And I was kind of a jerk, I guess, probably at first, you know. Again, don't know Thomas from Adam at that point. And so, so I'm busy, you know, thinking this. I'm doing the, next day, it was like 3 days, like, it wasn't next day, it was like a few days went by. It was like 3 days it went by. And I had told him, I said, well, you know what? Hey, next time you come over, you know, if we schedule a time, you come over and I'll show you a thing or two. You know, I'll just show you something in the shop. You know, I'll teach you a little something. And I just figured, okay, that might, you know, kind of settle it and be done. What's he do? He brings me over like 75 pounds of sausage. It's like, that was his bribe. He was bartering me with meat. So now the inside joke in the shop, you know, he likes to say, yeah, I bribed Roy with my meat. I gave him my meat, and that's why he kept me. So it's like, shut it, Thomas. So after that, he brought it. I looked at Jess. I'm like, I guess we'll keep him. He's coming over with that. So there you go. So that's the story. That is the story of Thomas and how him and I got to working together. Again, it was just he came over every now and then. He was working his full-time job doing septic, basically putting in drain fields and stuff. And yeah, that went on for, I don't know, 6-8 months, something like that. And then he's like, hey, you know, I'd like to, you know, work with you full time. I'm like, well, I don't really have a job for you. So I don't know how that'd work. And so I resisted that for the longest. And so finally, I'm like, you know what? We'll give it a try. Let's give it a shot. I've tried to hire people in the past. Didn't work out. So I was like, well, I'll try it one more time. You know, we'll give it a shot. And so Thomas has just surpassed a year of working with me. And, you know, yeah, that's where it's at. So, yeah, persistence paid off. Nice. So it was persistence. Yeah. Don't any of you all get any ideas. There's only so much room I have in my shop, so. Tim O'Connor. Huh? You need anything from Ohio, buddy? Yeah, no. So, anyways, yeah. So that was the deal. He was very, very energetic and ready to go. Yeah, so he showed a lot of promise that way, and I was appreciative of it. And he's a hard worker. He's a hard worker, good friend. So now we're kind of like, you know, we're inseparable. So there's the story. Thomas may have a different perspective point, clearly, than what I did. But again, I wasn't looking for a worker, and I wasn't looking for a friend. And I was like, who are you, and why are you on my porch? You know, like, but you're on my front porch. Go away. And he's like, come back the next day. Hi, I brought gifts. I'm like, go away. I'm good. Just go away. And then he just come back again. He wasn't taking no for an answer. Normally that would get you run off with a different kind of method. But, you know, for him, we let it slide. It's all right. So, yeah, Thomas is a good egg. You guys like him. If you guys get to meet him at Quad State, he's an awesome dude. Eric, you're moving next door. Ready to hire another person? No. I guess it just depends on how much you bribe me. Oh, we all have a price, don't we? Thomas, I can't quit you, Roy. I can't quit you, Thomas. Eric, see, you had to push through that, Eric. You have to push through that. That's how Thomas said. He said, hey, you want to hire another part? And I'm like, no, I don't want you at all. What are you doing? And then he's like, oh, yeah? Well, how about this? Does that look good to you? Shiny apple. I got 10 more of them in the truck. You want an apple? Like, throwing a Snickers, we got a deal. Nicholas Seth, yeah, Thomas is very nice. He's very knowledgeable. Yeah, he's a good dude. I'm still moving next door. Maybe I'll have better luck. Yeah, there you go. You just like mosey on over. So, Yeah, BSL agency needs a cooler full of meat. Yeah, Eric, you should let your wife know at some point that you're planning on moving. Yeah, you just wait till she falls asleep, and you just kind of like drag her out to the moving truck, put her in quietly, drive down the road. She wakes up. She's in Michigan. What the? Joshua, that'd be an awesome opportunity if you can find somebody to apprentice with. That would be good. I've had a couple people. I've had a couple people who want to like apprentice with me, and I haven't turned them down necessarily. My time is very limited, unfortunately. But my main thing is like, okay, I wouldn't mind, but I'm not making grills. I'm not making gates, right? I'm not making any large architectural work. The last couple people I've had want to take an apprentice with me, been wanting to, they're like out of college. They were wanting to get into that kind of work. And so I've had to recommend them to other smiths that I do know that do a lot of architectural work, and have apprenticeship programs. So, I've done that. I myself, unless you're wanting to learn how to do YouTube videos and, and the specific type of ironwork that I do, it's not conducive as much. Knock her out for 3 days. Yeah, plenty of Smiths are willing to give out knowledge for free. It's why I got the YouTube channel. It's why there's 1,800 videos here. It's to put out as much as I can. So, common print, that is awesome. That's a huge blessing to be able to do that. Hey, that is a solid start, man. You got to start at the bottom and work your way to the top and feel the pride when you get there. Very good, Joshua. Keep that passion. Remember that passion when you get into some other guy's shop. If I give you a piece of advice and then I'm going to call it quits because I need to go in and grab some shut-eye. But I do want to give Joshua a little bit. I do want to give you, Joshua, a little bit of advice on that. Do not let that passion die. I don't care what you get started in. And same thing with you, common print. If you have the opportunity, always remember that it is an opportunity to work along professional smiths. If you can get in on someone's shop, if you're apprenticing, even if they have you sweeping the shop floors, sweep those shop floors to the best of your abilities. Do as much as you can and give it as much passion and show as much respect as you can for the shop that you're working in. And don't expect to be owed nothing. If you do that, you will ingratiate yourself with the smiths. You will ingratiate yourself with your employers. You will ingratiate yourself with that, and you will by far learn way more than you ever would without. So, you have to understand that the smiths and the guys that are doing that job and that have been in that job for their whole lives or whatever they do, they earn their stripes to be there. And they don't take kindly to people thinking they should be at the same level right away. So earn your stripes, and you'll be right along with them, and you'll have all the respect in the world because of it. So if you're just getting started in some smith shop, give that shop the respect that is due. Bring that passion to it and the energy, and don't lose it. Don't lose it. Even if you don't feel like you're getting traction at the time, maybe you're like, oh man, I really want to do the forging thing, but here I am busy sandblasting today. That's part of it. They need somebody to sandblast. And when they can find somebody else to sandblast, they'll move you on to other things. Because guess what? They have the respect for the work ethic that you put into it. Take care, BF Small Engines. Brandon? So anyways, so that's my last piece of advice for tonight. For any of you, and that goes for any job that you're getting into, put your back to it. Put your back into the work, and you will be respected for it, and therefore you'll feel fulfilled. in that position. So. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. And you're right, Nicholas Smith. You have to earn your spot at the forge by showing you're not going anywhere. Yeah, that means you know, you're going to have to do suck jobs sometimes, because that's what it is. There's some jobs all you do is sit there and they're going to have you weld miles of weld, and it's going to be boring. But it's a job that needs to be done, and they're testing you. They're testing to see how much stick with it you have. And then when they're out doing something cool, they're going to invite you along. They're not going to invite the sissy that drops out because, oh, it's hot outside. Yeah, it's hot. Thanks, weatherman. You know, of course it's hot. You know, just get after it, right? That's what they're looking for. And you know, everyone earns their stripes some way, somehow. You do that, you'll be good to go. Yep, someone has to do it. There's different stages along the whole route, and that goes a long way in my shop. If any of you ever get the opportunity to come out and visit me in my shop, that's the way I am. Like, you respect the shop. If I tell you, if you come out and you want to apprentice with me, apprenticing with me may mean, like Thomas, you got stuck doing the plasma bed all day today. Well, that's what it is. And then there's occasional times it's like, hey, we're forging this, and he gets that opportunity to forge with me when I'm doing really cool crud, because he puts in the work on the hard stuff that I don't want to be doing, and that's why I have him around. And see, there you go. And so he puts in the work, and so he's earned, he's earned my respect, and he's earned a spot here in the forge for as long as he wants it. So awesome, Common Print. You'll do fine. You will do fine. So, all right, Tim O'Connor. Good night. Pumpkin Patch Ironworks, thank you for being here as well. I hope you all have a good night. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the stream. Thank you, everyone, so much, for coming and watching the stream. I am going to close it down here. Thank you for watching all the boringness of me getting this set up. I will have a video. I will have a full video coming out here soon on that. I do hope I've picked everyone's up, and I've given everyone some helpful advice and just some good stories and stuff like that. Yeah, Animal Creations. I'm out of here just because you showed up. So, but anyways, thank you to everyone who makes this content possible, and thank you guys for being here this evening. God bless each and every last one of you, and we will see you at either the 500K subscriber stream, or if it comes before, or we'll see you at the next Friday night giveaway live, and I look forward to seeing you all there. God bless each and every last one of you. Love you all.